Lara Sparks in the books.
Yeah, Laura's one of my very, very favorite people. She's so like fun and sparky. Her last name is Sparks. She's sparky. Man, but she's also just got a passion for people. You know, the thing that she loves the most is developing the people around her and helping them to be better, be more, grow more. And so through the short time period that Laura and I have been close, like I've seen her work on her own personal development time and time again, and on the development of those around her. So
yeah, I really appreciate that she spoke to like just the sheer difficulty of getting like steering a ship in a different direction, and remember, and can speak to what that was like, and kind of gave us an open window on that. And I don't know, I was really impressed. That was my first interaction with her. I was really impressed. So
yeah. She's captaining a very large ship over there at Hoover Toyota and doing an amazing job. So
absolutely, give it a look. Thanks, Laura.
Can we talk about your career? Not Faith's career.
Yeah,
Faith,
got it.
Can we talk about Laura's career?
All right.
So I want to know about that. One thing that I was struck by when I was checking that out was you said, I wish like I had gone into the auto industry like right out of high school.
I do.
Because there's so many opportunities, right?
Yes, there is. And I never would have even thought about the automotive industry, the dealership life. That never even crossed my mind. But I wish I would have.
Did you work at the mall ever?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I left the mall, I said I would never, ever. I could probably count on my hand the number of times I've been back to the mall since I left that hellhole.
Well, I was a manager at Express Women's Clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
I
always
love Express.
Yes,
too.
Everybody always thinks it's the Oil Change Express since I work in service. So I always have to clarify.
The brand
women's
owned by the
clothing.
Limited.
Yeah, and so I thought I would always do something that was in that kind of area, either fashion or interior design, because I like to be creative. But I got talked into selling cars, and I did pretty good at it. And so it was a long ways away from where I lived. So I decided to try somewhere closer, and that's how I came to Hoover Toyota.
Do you get to use your creative muscle at all in selling, like in the dealership? Like, how does that work?
I did write our free coffee and water sign.
You get to set up the chairs in the waiting room and stuff like that.
No, I
Throw
don't
a little
do that.
pillow or two on them.
I did help with my husband's truck, putting the rims and the tires on it, things like that. So things like that I'm pretty good at.
I always think it's just really interesting to hear kind of like people's trajectory, like how many lateral moves are you making? How long are you staying in a place? Because, like we've all heard, like it's you should stay at a job for a long time, right? It looks good on your resume. But when I look at resumes, like I really want to see that, like if they've moved from a job, they're not job hopping like laterally, but they're like taking a step. So I'm okay if you are, you're learning and then you're going, I mean, not like every 3 months you're going to a new role, but like, are you that person that is like looking to like continue to advance? And I think it'd be interesting to hear kind of from people that are really successful, like what that looked like for them. Like how many times did they like take those lateral moves? Like for you, what did that look like for you?
So I mean, I had a whole other career before like a lot of people do, right? I mean, I went to like seminary, was on staff at a church. I started as a sales consultant with CarMax. They had a buyer and training position. Whoa. I can get paid to buy cars with the company's money. And you, cool, did that, became a buyer, did that, got good at it, became a trainer, buyer, then came over to Hudson as a purchasing manager. And then, so it's just been, now I was with CarMax for 8 years, but like I never took a lateral move from there. And it was kind of being a buyer was like a skill. It takes years and years to get good at it, you know? But I don't think I ever took a lateral move in my career, actually, any job. And that's kind of what I heard from you. It's like where it doesn't matter if you came in as a hostess, well, you're going to work your way up to this.
Right.
And it's almost like you're treating things as a career when you're in them. It's like, look, what's optimal? Well, that's what I'm going to go for as long as I'm here.
Right. I've always wanted more wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
So, even in the dealership, you know, I started in sales, then I was promoted to finance. I did very well there. After I had my second son, I took a couple years off. I did sell insurance during that time. And then...
So even when you were gone, you were still...
Yes, because it was... I worked for Allstate for a little while, then I went into it on my own, selling life insurance. Mm-hmm. And then they taught me into coming back to the car dealership because I needed something Monday through Friday. And so I did used car reconditioning. We started, you know, we have two buildings, the used car building and the new car building. Yeah. So it had been at the new car building, and I worked out of the rental office, and I moved it to the used car building. It used to be a Hyundai building, and I moved it over there, and it had never, they had tried it a couple of times to get it up and going, but no one was ever successful over there. And now...
Not until Lara.
That's right. Since 2010, when I went back, because I started at Hoover Toyota in 2006. I left in 2008, at the end of 2008, came back in 2010, and several months later, we moved it to the other building, and it's still successful now.
Nice.
So, and it's growing. Now we have all of our oil changers over there.
And that whole department is under you now, right?
Mm-hmm. So then I went from used car reconditioning to service manager, then service director, and now fixed operations director. And now, hopefully in the future, I'll get to be GM somewhere. I'm in school for that.
Cool.
Dealer Academy. So
yeah, what's the most fascinating thing you've learned so far in Dealer Academy?
The most fascinating thing to me, because I'm a people person, and you know, I've always been like, as long as I'm beating last year, I'm doing good. But just the numbers, the composite, the things that you can see in the composite that you don't see in your day-to-day operations, and that you look for, and you can compare, and you can say, okay, well, if we grow here, then we can grow here, and maybe this is why we're not growing here, because we're not doing this, and it all goes back to the numbers. And that's not something that I really ever looked at, because I believe if you have the right people, then the numbers will come, and as long as you were doing better than last year, then you're growing, because you always want to grow. So,
cool.
So a little bit of a different perspective.
It is a different perspective.
I'm a numbers person, and that composite, when you start looking at it, like, it can make your mind explode.
It's
There's
intimidating.
There's a lot. It can be intimidating, but you're right. Like, the numbers always tell the story, right? Where do we have opportunities? Because you might be killing it over here, but guess what? You also have an opportunity over here. And like, it's so funny because you can say, you know, like, I'm making this change to increase my ROs by a quarter, you know, to increase half of my ROs or a quarter of my ROs by half an hour, right? Made this change to increase, you know, half an hour on a quarter of my ROs, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right? Just from just one little tweak that you can do by looking at the numbers and saying, where am I? I'm a little bit off of benchmark here. That means there's opportunity. I could be doing more. What can I do? And like looking at it and taking that mindset into it, I think to me that's just so interesting.
I think so too. And like I said, that I think that is the most interesting thing that I've gotten out of it.
All right, so you were one of my first ambassadors with Women of Hudson. I just want to talk about Women of Hudson. I want to talk about women in general in your role, in this industry, in this organization, just a little bit. So you were one of my first ambassadors. You were able to mentor up Alexa to become ambassador in that store, and you went into the mentor ambassador role, so you were able to then mentor several ambassadors, and now you are a growth group leader with Women of Hudson. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for doing that. Like, it's really an honor that like I get a chance to get to know you more, that we get to work together, and that I see this mentoring that you're doing. Like, it makes my heart full to see that. When you first started at Women of Hudson, or when you first started at Hudson, Women of Hudson wasn't a thing. So we bought you in 2019. Women of Hudson rolled out 2020. Oh yeah, we bought the store 2021. Women of Hudson rolled out 2022. 22, 23.
Maybe.
Yeah, 2022. When you first heard about it, what did you think?
I was very excited because there wasn't a lot of women in the automotive industry. In fact, the first 20 group I went to with Hudson Academy, or with Hudson, I was the only woman there besides the moderator and the support staff. So there wasn't any other service managers that were women or anything.
Wow.
And so now, I think it was the third one I went to, there was another service manager there. And then there was Belinda, because y'all had purchased the Mercedes store. And then there was another lady who was a general manager.
Lindsay.
So we had two other general managers there. Yep. And so that was exciting for me. And even in where I work, when I first started over there, there were no other women advisors. And as I became a manager, you know, I think it opened up the door for other women to feel comfortable to come work there. So, you know, I have several women who work as advisors now. I have a woman technician. And I had another one, but she decided she wanted to go and refurbish cars instead of work on cars.
Okay, go for her.
And so I think it opens up a lot of opportunity for women in the automotive industry.
Yeah, I was talking to Caleb about this the other day, and just saying that, when anybody sees themselves somewhere, right, somebody that looks like them, then they can start envisioning themselves being there. And so when we talk about women in automotive, I think that there are tons of advantages to being a female in automotive. Tons of opportunity, tons of advantages. But to be a female salesperson or F&I manager or advisor, you have the advantage because you're automatically disarming people as soon as they walk in the door, right? Like, they're not automatically like putting up that that stereotype of like the salesperson is just trying to sell me, right? The salesman or the car salesman, right? Or when they drive into the service lane, which I would imagine that a majority of the cars you get in, like, it's a female bringing the car in, right? Like, so they come in and they see an advisor that's a male, it's automatically like, oh gosh, I have to do, it's stressful for them. Like, what are they going to try to sell me that, like, because I don't know anything about it. But as a female, you automatically, like, that guard gets dropped a little bit automatically. And so you have some advantages there. Can you speak to like some advantages, other advantages to like being a female in the industry in your position?
Just like what you said, there is less, there's more trust there. For some reason, people automatically trust a woman more. Now, you also if you're at a meeting and you have all the men there, you don't have to wait in line on the bathroom. So that's
There is that.
there is a definite advantage to that.
And they usually let you go first in line for the food too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I don't mind being a woman. I love men. But there are a lot of advantages. Like I said, people trust you. It opens up a different category that you can pull from to get employees to come work for you.
Yeah.
It's a much more diverse atmosphere, I believe.
Yeah.
It has disadvantages and its disadvantages. So
When you took this role as a service manager, you were overseeing the technicians or just the advisors?
Technicians and advisors.
Okay. And then how was your reception?
From the technicians, probably from everybody. She's a woman. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's never worked on a car before. I had to earn that respect. And part of it was being fair and listening to them. And, once they figured out that I was on their side, that we were a team, I started earning that respect. Everybody hated me when I first got there. I mean, I would go home and cry because nobody liked me. But I did expect them to perform to a certain standard. I expect excellence. Come in, do your job, have a good time at work, and then go home. If you didn't perform, then I talk to you about it. You know, I'm pretty direct as well. And
can I ask about that time period? Like, so when you're there, look, there's when you're going through it at work, like that's a special kind of discomfort, and it's kind of even like a suffering. Like, seriously, it's a stressor. It's like your body's full of cortisol. It's like, it's a lot. You don't sleep as well. Like it's a lot to deal with. How long did that protracted period of time last, where it was like, oh, this is uncomfortable?
I think it took probably about a year. It wasn't a quick fix. And in fact, because, when it was the original Hoover Toyota and I first came there were a lot of things I didn't like when I first got there, as far as, people not coming in on time, people not treating it like a career. It was just a job,
which is what you've always done, right?
Right. It wasn't something that, you saw opportunity in, like a real career. And I think just changing that culture. No, you're going to be here on time. You can't stay out all night drunk and then not come into work and call in, because that's the kind of work ethic I have. I modeled, not the staying out all night drinking and not coming in, but my work ethic is, and since I've worked at Hoover Toyota since 2006, the only time I've called out is when I had COVID and they made me stay out. That is the only time. I've worked with strep throat and stomach viruses and everything else, which I sequestered myself. But and so my team, they've seen me do that, and they follow that same guideline. Now, if they're contagious, I don't want them coming to work, So I'm not saying that I expect that, but, just that work ethic, just being there, being present, and when you're at work, doing your job, not on your phone all the time, not, doing things you're not supposed to be doing. You're at work to work, make money, have a good time, and then you enjoy your time off.
So you feel like you've kind of really established now a new culture in your area, which is, it's a career. You have opportunities here.
Yes. And before Hudson bought us, I felt like I was as far as I was ever going to go. I used to tell the general manager, why don't you retire and let me be the general manager? I told him that all the time. And he was the same age as me. And but he was the owner as well. But so I was like, I can handle this for you. You don't even have to come to work.
Wow.
And he never would. But everybody always kind of migrated to me. And whenever they needed something, they always came to me. And then once Hudson bought us, I saw so many more opportunities because there's so many stores. My people had opportunities. There was a growth path now where before you got in your position and that's where you were. If you weren't going anywhere, you had nowhere to go because, the owner, he wasn't going anywhere. And so now there's actually a growth path, and I like to grow. I like to, I don't want to go anywhere else, but I want to go up. I want to do, I want to learn more, do more. And even if I never get to go anywhere else, just seeing my people progress and seeing them reach the goals that they want to achieve, seeing them be able to take care of their families and them grow their career is very fulfilling for me.
They could sit in the car, or they could go wait in the waiting area. We'd pull it in.
God, that seems like such a better experience.
It's quite good. Although, like, I drive a 96 Tacoma, so I have a huge A skid plate on the bottom, and they all groan when I pull up, because that's got that big heavy, and it's like, man, I hope they don't take this personally. Like, I'm not like singling them out, but
Wait, you don't go to Valvoline, do you?
I go to Take 5.
Oh my God! They weren't around. At least not in North Carolina.
You know we're an automotive group, right?
What can we do? What sort of resources? Whatever it looks like. What can we do to help make things better and give them the opportunities or whatever it is to try to advance their career in ways that we didn't have.
Could you speak